Have you been interested in starting to homeschool and you've been wanting to do it deep down in your heart because you know it's the best for your family, but you are overwhelmed and scared and just don't know how to start? Well, in this video, I'm gonna break down the 8 steps that you need to do so you can start homeschooling as early as tomorrow. Let's get into it. Hi friend, my name is Iman and I help Muslim moms homeschool with confidence and joy while having routines and systems to keep on top of their home management, all without sacrificing their own self-care. So if you're watching this video, you've been thinking of wanting to start homeschooling for a while. And with all that thinking and wondering of how I'm gonna do this, a lot of fear comes with it. And that's because you don't know much about homeschooling right now. With any new thing that you want to start, there's always fear in there because you just don't know much about it and you don't know how to start. And some of the fears and the ideas that you probably have right now is, how do I start? Do I have to tell the school anything? I want to pull my kids out of school right now. What should I do first? How do I teach and what do I teach? All of these thoughts and concerns are all normal. I had those exact thoughts and concerns when I first started. And the way I felt better about these feelings of fear and concern is learning from other mothers that are homeschooling as well. And so you being here learning from me and this video is the perfect place that you need to be. The thing is, when I first started learning about homeschooling, I learned from one lady on Instagram on how she does it, and she doesn't really teach it anymore. And so now that I've been homeschooling for a couple of years and I feel confident in it and I love it, I actually want to share my knowledge and experience with other Muslim mothers. So that's the reason why I'm making this video. So based on my experience and knowledge of homeschooling the last 4 years, I have took all my knowledge and I've condensed it into 8 steps that you should take if you want to start homeschooling as early as tomorrow. Okay, let's get into step number 1, which is very important for you to do if you are ever deciding on anything, which is making du'a. If you are a Muslim mother right now wanting to homeschool and not sure, you really need to make sincere du'a to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this journey easy for you. We are taught in our traditions and in our sunnah that any decision we make as Muslims, we need to make du'a on it first. And this is because we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help in any decision we make in our life. Allah knows what's good for us and what's bad for us, and with du'a, inshallah, we will be protected from anything that is bad for us and we'll be guided towards anything that is good for us. And inshallah, this homeschooling journey would be a goodness and a fruitful thing in your life. The other thing about making dua is that homeschooling is not easy, especially at the beginning, because you are learning a lot about it. You are figuring out what works for your family, what works for you and your kids. But with time and with experience, you will get more comfortable with it and you'll feel more confident with it. So making consistent dua on your homeschool journey also is very important. You're definitely going to need Allah's help and Allah's guidance on this journey. Okay, let's get into the second step that you have to do, and this is know your country's law on homeschooling. You have to do your research on what your country or your state or province says about homeschooling. Is it legal? Is it illegal? And if it is legal, you have to know exactly what's expected of you to homeschool where you live. For example, do you have to meet with an education facilitator twice a year? Do you have to create education plans? Do you have to keep track of attendance? Each state or province or country have different laws and regulation when it comes to homeschooling. So you have to know this before you start homeschooling. Here in Canada, we have many different provinces and we have 3 territories. And every province and territory have their own homeschool law. So you really have to do your research on exactly where you live and what the law is in your area. The other thing about this point is make sure you do your own research and you are informed on what the actual law is where you live. Do not just go by hearsay and just go by what other homeschooling moms are telling you, because laws do change and you want to be up to date with the current law. So just make sure you do your own research, your own reading, so you understand what the rules and regulation and the law is where you live. If you want to start your own Muslim homeschool and just feel overwhelmed and scared, make sure you grab my free guide where I'll walk you through the 5 steps that you need to do to help you get started. Check the guide out in the description down below. The third step you have to take so you can start homeschooling is knowing your why. Why are you homeschooling? Why are you choosing this method of education for your family? So I really recommend on taking the time to really reflect on this. Just to think about what's important for your family, your priority, and why you are deciding to homeschool for your family. Like, why is it important? And I really recommend writing this down. Writing down in a notebook or a planner that you know that you will keep safely so you can refer back to it. Don't just keep it in your head. Don't just keep your reasons and your why in your head. And the reason why I say it's important to write it down is because there are going to be days when you start homeschooling that you're going to want to quit. They're going to be thinking like, why am I doing this? I just want to send my kids to school and just not do it anymore. Trust me, I still have them, even being 3-4 years in. And so writing down your why, you can refer back to it on those hard days that you just want to quit and not do it anymore. You can refer back to it and just read why you are doing it and what's your reason behind it. And that will re-energize you, re-motivate you to keep going, because we all have some low moments and we have a lot of good moments. And so those low moments, when you're really struggling, you really need to refer back to your why and go read it again to help you get through those moments. And I personally review my why and why I'm doing this every year. The beginning of the year, before my homeschool year starts, around July, August, when I'm planning for the next year, I write down my why again and I review it and I reflect on it to see if I want to change it or add to it before I start my homeschool year. But I'm always going back to my why and my homeschool vision and why I decided to do this for my family. And it really helps when you have that as like your compass and your goal, just to keep you motivated to keep homeschooling. Okay, so the fourth step that you have to take is you have to deschool yourself and your kids. This is such an important step that many moms forget to do, and they just jump right in and start homeschooling. You really have to take the time to deschool yourself and your kids before you start homeschooling. So deschooling is the process of letting go the mindset of traditional school and traditional learning, and letting go the idea that learning only happens when you're sitting down in a school doing bookwork. And so I truly recommend to take this step of deschooling yourself and your kids, even though your kids have never been to regular school and you've been homeschooling from the beginning. You as the mother have been to regular school and have a certain understanding of what education is and what learning is. And so this process of deschooling is very important for yourself as the mother and for your kids. So through deschooling, which I'll explain to you how you're gonna do it, you see that your child is always learning. As long as they are breathing and they are moving, they are learning. They are learning and absorbing their environment. Therefore, you understand the concept of letting your child explore, letting your child follow their interests, and letting your child learn what they want to learn. Deschooling also gives you space as the mom to relax and just enjoy this moment and enjoy this process. And this is because through deschooling, you'll be having fun with your kids. You'll be doing so many different experiences, so many different things with your kids. So it's very fun. And so the way you're gonna deschool yourself and your kids is in 4 steps. Number 1, choose how long your deschooling period will be for your family. It could be 1 week, it could be 2 weeks, it can even be 3 weeks. When we were doing deschooling, I chose to do it for 1 week. The second step is, once you choose how long your deschooling period will be, writing down the actual date that it will start and when it will end. And make sure you write it in your planner or in a calendar, or somewhere that you can actually see and you won't lose it. Step number 3, once you've chosen how long you're gonna do deschooling for and the dates that you're gonna do it for, the third step is to talk with your kids and brainstorm with them on the things that they want to do in this period. What do they want to do that's fun as a family? Maybe think about things that you guys have always wanted to do and do it during this time. So this can be any experience, any activity that's fun for you and your kids that you guys enjoy. So it could be going to the park that day, the zoo, bike riding, rollerblading. If it's the winter, doing sledding or ice skating, having a swimming day, going to the water park. Anything that you and your kids love to do, brainstorm it, write it down, and figure out when in your deschooling period that you're gonna do it. And step number 4, do as many of those activities as possible with your kids. The other benefit of deschooling is that you will see how your child learns. Make sure you are observing your child and seeing how they are picking things up. Are they more visual learner? Do they have to see things to learn about it? Do they have to hear it to learn more about it, to understand it? Or do they have to touch and experience it to understand something? And this knowledge is very important in the next couple of steps when you are choosing curriculum for your homeschool. This actually takes us to step number 5, which is study your child. And so most of this step is already done in the deschooling phase. So once you do your deschooling phase, you will have an idea of what kind of learner your child is and their learning style. And this is very important to know before you buy anything, any curriculum or any books. So make sure you write down how your child learns, their learning style. Are they visual? They need to see everything. Are they more auditory? They need to hear it to understand. Or are they more kinesthetic? They have to touch. And they can be more than one learning style as well. But make sure you write this down somewhere so you can refer back to it. The other thing is when you're studying your child, keep an eye to see what kind of learner they are. Are they more independent, that they take initiative to want to learn? Or do they need more of a reminder and more of a kind of a nudge and push to learn something? The other thing is, do they have short attention spans? So do their lessons need to be shorter versus do they have a longer attention span and they can focus and learn something that's a little bit longer? And so naturally, if your child is younger and you are homeschooling them, so preschool, kindergarten, up to 3rd grade, they tend to have shorter attention span. So you do want to choose curriculums that have shorter lesson. And then once they are 4th grade and older, their attention span tends to be longer, and you can choose curriculum that would fit that. But every child is different. Make sure you know your child and study your child. Now, the 6th step, so you can start homeschooling, is now you can start looking at books and curriculums that fit your child's learning style and that also fits you on how you want to teach. Once you are ready and you are in the 6th step and you're ready to do research on curriculum, I want you to think of 2 things. Number 1, how your child learns, their learning style, and number 2, how you want to teach as the teacher. Do you want to be more hands-on, teaching them everything, being side by side and teaching them? Or do you want to be more hands-off and you kind of watch them learn, either through online teaching or through video? And so based on your child learning style and the way you want to teach, once you have those 2 decided, then it's easier for you to choose which curriculums you're going to choose for each subject, because there are so many choices out there. I just want to make sure before you start looking and getting overwhelmed to know the answers to those 2 questions: the learning style of your child and how you want to teach. And so I really recommend YouTube. YouTube is like the best place that I go to look at any curriculums that I'm interested in, because you have so many moms on there that actually have the curriculum for that subject and actually show you how they use it, what they like about it, what they don't, just so you don't waste any money buying curriculum that you won't like or your child won't like. So in this phase, based on your child's age, I want you to start looking for reading, writing, and math curriculums. And also in our Muslim homeschool, we do Quran and Qaida Nuraniya. What kind of book you're going to use to teach Qaida Nuraniya? I recommend focusing on those subjects when your child is from grade 1 to grade 3. If you have a child that's older than grade 3, then you can look for science curriculum as well, history, Islamic history curriculum, geography curriculum. But those subjects, the science, the geography, the history, those are more content subjects, and I really recommend teaching those subjects to all your kids together in your morning basket. And I really recommend focusing on the skill subject, which is reading, writing, and math, and Quran and Qaida individually for each of your individual kids. And so I'm gonna do a more detailed video on skill subjects and content subjects in my Muslim homeschool. And once I finish editing and filming, I'll link it up here. So make sure you check it out. The 7th step that you have to do so you can start homeschooling, which is very important in our Muslim homeschool, is coming up with a plan on how you're going to teach Quran and their Qaida Nuraniya lesson. And so with homeschooling, that gives us so much flexibility for us as Muslims to focus on subjects that are very important in our lives and our kids' lives. And this is teaching Quran to our kids from a young age and making it a core subject, and also teaching the Qaida Nuraniya so they can read the Quran as they get older. So I want you to come up with a plan for this. who's teaching the Quran and who's teaching the Qaida Nuraniya. If you can teach the Quran and the Qaida Nuraniya, then it's simple. You know your answer. But if you are struggling to teach or it's just hard for you, then I really recommend hiring a teacher for this. Maybe looking up what the Quran classes are at the masjid, but figuring out how your kids are going to learn the Quran and the Qaida Nuraniya in their homeschool and putting it in their homeschool schedule. And so with this step, I want to remind you to make the Quran the focus of your homeschool. Make it a core subject and give it priority and time to do it every day with your kids. And so when you raise your kids this way, teaching them and showing them that the Quran is our main focus and it's a priority in our life to open the Quran, to read the Quran, to reflect on the Quran, then your kids will learn that habit from you and they will take that skill and habit as they grow up. And as they do more subjects in their homeschool, they will prioritize their Quran because that's what they have learned. And prioritizing the Quran brings so much blessing to your family, to your homeschool. It's such an amazing opportunity that we have as Muslim homeschoolers to spend this much time with the Quran and for our kids to be able to spend this much time with the Quran. Alhamdulillah, it's such a blessing. And the 8th step for you to start homeschooling is start creating simple routines on how your day flows. Think about when you're going to start homeschooling, when you're going to end homeschooling, which subjects that you will do for each of your kids, and think about chores and giving some of the home chores that you do every day off to your kids, depending on their age and their skill level. And so teaching them chores, giving them chores, training them on chores will give them the sense of responsibility and also teach them life skills that they will learn as they get older. The other thing about this is creating a homeschool schedule for each of your kids. So just creating a homeschool schedule with all the subjects really helps you and helps your child become more independent. So if you really like this video and you have found value on how you're gonna start homeschooling, but you are still scared on how you're gonna balance homeschooling and managing your home, especially meals, make sure you watch this next video where I talk about how to use meal rotations in your home to make your life so much easier. Go check it out.